to glorify you, Jesus. Magnify you, Lord. You're worthy of the glory, Lord.
The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Last week we concluded with the fact that until you're fully committed to the change that's going to help you, then you're still being faithful to what will keep hurting you. And we began looking at the part of the brain, the system of the brain that we call the basal ganglia. And it began to, I hope, give you some insight on how you've been approaching things and how you've been looking at things, and we're going to look at that a little more in depth today. But I'm also going to give you some information on how to get that under control, how to redirect that, and get some things on the right track. Because as you have known and as you have been experiencing, things have been different.
Amen.
They've been different for you. They've been different for the world. They've been different for everybody as a whole. And there's a reason for that. And that reason that we've got to understand is that no matter what you're encountering, God has equipped you to manage the situation. What you've gotten accustomed to in a lot of cases is once the situations come and they seem too heavy for you, you fold. You're ready to just stop. You're ready to just shut it down. You don't want to even fool with it. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to hash it out. You don't want to figure it out. You don't want to do nothing. You just want to scrap everything and toss it. And honestly, that's normal for the human body that don't have an answer. That's normal. And so what we're going to try to get you into is get you to the place where you keep it kingdom when things are normal. See, that's where the issue's been. Because when the word's telling you that you're going to have stuff to happen, it's not telling you that, hey, stuff's going to happen and you just got to deal with it. You do have to face the stuff that's going to happen. That's going to take place. What he's trying to show you is I've overcome what's normal for the human race. Because I've equipped you that when you stay in touch with me, those others of the human race are going to look at you like you're not of the human race because you're of me. Because you're in the world, but you're not of the world. So I gotta let the normal happen to you. That's why Jesus made the clear statement of, in this world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I've overcome it. So that's what he's trying to show you is, hey, just because you're mine doesn't mean you're not going to have tribulation. You're still going to have the tribulation, but I need for you to keep your kingdom when the tribulation happens. That's where the difference is going to come in. That's why I got to teach you about these systems of the brain so that you understand why certain scriptures are stated the way that they're stated, so that you can then drum them up every single time those things pop up. You know which ones to pull out because the word is rightly divided. You understand how to rightly divide it. You can't just say any old scripture that you want to say to think it's going to fix your problem. You have to rightly divide it. So once it's rightly divided, then you'll be able to take those normal situations that's shaking everybody else to the core, and you'll be just fine. Right. That's what we're after. That's what I'm trying to show you. Amen. In all these things. So one of the ways that we hinder our lives is by thinking and speaking negatively about things before we even get to them. You done already called it dead before it even had its first breath of life. You done already said they no good. You done already said it won't work. You done already said they ain't got no hope. You done already, but of course y'all ain't said nothing like that. I love you. You get into those places to where that's the first thing out of your mouth. and that's because of a mindset. That's really not because of the person, okay? That's really not even because of who you're interacting with. That's more so in you than it is anything else. That's more so a part of you. Because, understand this. Go with me to Numbers chapter 13. I want you to see Numbers chapter 13 and keep in mind the scripture that we read at the start in Ecclesiastes 10. Because this is very important. After we read this one scripture in Numbers, I want you to hold your spot there. We're going to look at some other stuff, but we will be coming back to Numbers 13. But in Numbers 13, I want you to look at verse 31 because I'm wanting to show you what the statement I just said of one of the ways that we hinder our lives is by thinking and speaking negatively about things before we even get to them. In Numbers 13 and verse 31, it says, "But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we." All right, now this is dealing with the children of Israel, the spies that they sent to go check out the promised land. Joshua and Caleb, they're trying to convince the people, hey, we saw it. It's good. It'll work for us. Let's go. But 10 of them already had a mindset to say, this is not going to work. This is not going to change. This isn't going to get any better. So there's an issue here, and I'm going to show you that issue in a little while. But the reason that I'm wanting you to understand that the mindset is more about you than it is about what you're encountering is because we've got 12 people that went to look at the exact same thing. And 2 agree with God. And 10 don't. Two agree with God and 10 don't. But they all looked at the same thing. They all looked at the exact same thing. So what they saw was the same. How they perceived it is what was different. That's where you've been running into your issues. Because of perception of the things that you're going into. Okay? I want you to take a look at another verse. Like I said, keep your spot there at Numbers 13. But I also want you to look at Ecclesiastes chapter 11. Because in Ecclesiastes chapter 11, it's one of the scriptures I wanted you to look at last week. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 3 says this. It says, "And if the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if the tree fall toward the south or toward the north, and the place where the tree falleth, there it shall be." Now notice it gives options about that tree falling. So that tree could possibly go to the south or it could fall to the north. But wherever it falls, that's where it's going to be. Okay, everybody sees that, right? Your mentality, whichever direction it's already leaning, that's where it's going to fall